Hello, everyone. As I promised, I'm recording every single topic so you can have this information to review, to study, to pass the exam. If you were absent in one of those sessions, you will be able to participate like normal class, like live. So thank you so much for watching. This is the topic number 3 of the class and the week number 2. So week 2, class 1. The last recording was week 1, class 1, week 1, class 2. This one is week 2, class 1. And I'll be recording the next one in a few minutes after this one. Two separate facts videos. So this is the Scrum introduction, and as usual, I do it's I share with you the plan, the class that we will be conducting for the rest of the 6 weeks. Remember that 2 weeks ago we had a holiday, so we needed to extend to the week 7 in order to make up the class. So we are technically providing this class today, week 2, class 1, right? Introduction to Scrum Framework. Some of the content or topics that we will be talking about today, it's what is Scrum and what is Agile. What are the 4 values of the Agile Manifesto? What is Agile Manifesto? What is the difference between knowledge and industrial projects? What is the definition of empirical processes? When to use Scrum? Scrum fiction, big lies about Scrum. That is so tricky for the exam. So keep that in mind. What is not true for Scrum? Scrum basics, Scrum details, and Scrum utilizations. The 3 pillars of Scrum. And those are I think this is one of the most important topic of the program, the 3 pillars of Scrum: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. I know that you had the opportunity to go to visit the Google Classroom that we prepared for the class, and you will see that we are posting the presentations. I posted this book. It's an easy reading book. You don't need to read the book to pass the exam. This is a nice reading. When you have time, it's in PDF format. Also, we have a couple of practice exams, and you already pass few of those exams for practice. And this is the link for the classroom. And now I know that all of you guys, you have access. If you don't have access, just let me know and I'll be more than able to send you the invitation. So we are posting the presentations in PowerPoint. We're posting the practice exams in Google Forms. Also here, part of the class, you have the opportunity to ask all the questions you have about the exam. And of course, I said that the Scrum book in digital form, which is this one. So Scrum and Agile, as I mentioned in the previous class, is that based on the project life cycle, we can have predictive and adaptive projects. Predictive are the traditional projects when you know exactly the scope, the budget, and the calendar, the duration. That is nothing to do with Agile. Agile is for those projects that You don't know exactly the final product. You're starting just with an idea. You have a vision, you have any strategy, but you don't know exactly what to deliver at the end of the project. So you're going to start with conducting sprints. The sprint, it's a short cycle of time to deliver value like this. So we are going to use Scrum and Agile, not always when possible, to gather the requirements upfront. So you don't know exactly the final configuration of the product. Also, we learned that Agile is not only Scrum. We have a couple of different frameworks like Kanban, right? We have Scrum, which is the one that we will be talking about 99% of the time in this program. We have also another one, which is XP, Extreme Programming. Also, we can have SAFe, which is a Scale Agile framework. And just to mention some. This is just to mention some of the methodologies or frameworks as part of the Agile, because Agile is an umbrella. Okay, we said that. Scrum is a project management methodology of the Agile group. It is the most popular and the most broadly used one. So Scrum is the framework that we are gonna hopefully pass the exam and to become a Scrum Master. I mentioned in Agile introduction last week that there was a couple of 17 individuals from software development industry that they said, okay, we need to stop this traditional project management methodology, because all the projects that we're implementing, the customer is not happy. We are behind schedule, and also we are over budget. So we need to be realistic and create like a manifesto or a revolution about how to implement software development and software solution projects. So that's why they invented the Agile Manifesto. And I told you last week that the Agile Manifesto, it's all about 4 values and 12 principles. The 4 values of the Agile Manifesto are: number 1, individuals and interactions are more important than processes and tools. This is number 1. The number 2 is working software. It's more important than the comprehensive documentation. That is the number 2. Number 3, value number 3, customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiation. And number 4, responding to change. It's more important than following a plan. Those are the 4 values. They want to explain a little bit more about the value number 1. Why the Agile Manifesto establishes that individuals and interactions are more important than processes and tools. Why? Why is that, Lise? Why? Lise, can you explain this a little bit more? Okay, let me explain. They said, and I agree with them, with the creators of the Agile Manifesto, it's that individuals and interactions are the most important thing in Scrum. Why? Because the projects, the ideas, the strategies, the business are created by individuals. So the processes and tools never create anything. They are just supporting the operations. So processes and tools will be needed. I understand that we need eventually, we need some tools and some processes. However, they are not create anything themselves. So projects are completed by people, right? Not by processes and tools. Agile projects are people-driven. That is a very important statement. Agile projects are people-driven. Okay, value number 2, working software over comprehensive documentation. Explain, let's start a little bit more. Okay, I will. So Agile projects need to deliver value, right? Working software is all about the solution. When I said software, it's about the solution. Remember that it's not only software, but you can also implement any solution in any business using agility and Scrum framework. So Agile projects need to deliver value. Value, it's about the business need. The project aims to deliver. So that is, I would say, the heart, el corazón of Agile. So documentation here, it's okay, I need documentation, but in Agile, this is something that we are going to create just enough, right? Barely sufficient. Documentation is done just in time at the last responsible moment. So documentation might also be just because. Why should be the reason why we need to create some comprehensive documentation in an Agile project? It could be because the industry requirements or organizational requirements. So I remember because I was part of the traditional project management, is that in traditional mindset, I remember that we used to create a lot of training material, a lot of handbooks, playbooks, a lot of blah, 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 documenting every single document, every single solution, every single paragraph. We're explaining why. It was a lot of work. So now in Agility, we don't need to create those comprehensive documentations anymore. That is a relief. So the value number 3 is that customer collaboration is more important than contract negotiation. And I was putting the example, I don't know if you remember when sometimes you are going to use any application on the internet, they said, okay, you can try for 30 days for free. You see, the industry, the technologies industry, they realize that it's one really good idea to provide collaboration and help the customers before they make a decision to buy the application. So at the end of the day, if you are happy with the free trial Zoom, for example, solution, what's going to happen in the future? If you know that it's working good, that you're not paying, however you need to do an upgrade, you are going to buy the solution. So this is just a business strategy. So customer collaboration, it's more important than contract negotiation or selling a product. So Agile is flexible, accommodating, and willing to change. Contracts are rigid and are not friendly. I will say, I can replace this word for non-friendly. So Agile contracts must accommodate changes. There's a difference between being right and doing the right thing. So this is about taking the best option or making the best decision, right? This is about how to manage the business with the customers. So the value number 4 of Agile, it's responding to change. It's more important than following a plan. And believe me, this is true because I remember when I was doing all my plans, communications plan, quality plan, risk management plan, stakeholders management plan. After 1 month, those plans were obsolete and not good anymore. So I needed to spend time just updating the plans all over again. So at the end of the day, planning was good, but the plans were unuseful, not useful a lot. It was not something that we use for anything, for any meeting, because it was like changing, and never we were able to keep all the plans updated. So Agile welcomes change. Predictive projects, the one that I mentioned, predictive, it's traditional. We plan, the traditional plan everything in advance. Agile projects have lots of changes. And also Agile projects have uncertainty upfront. So we have a lot of unknowns events, a lot of things that we don't know. So after we analyze the nature of the software and knowledge work, now we understand that predictive or traditional still relevant for some type of work. When you know the work is industrial, you can use traditional methodologies. However, when you are working with a knowledge work expects changes. Knowledge work is invisible work. Agile is best used for knowledge work as software development projects. Agile projects expect a lot of changes. What is this important, this word, knowledge? It's when the owner of the business owner, they don't know the boss, the manager, the director, the vice president, they don't know what to do when someone is developing a software. So this is 100%. It's a domain. It's part of the development team dominion, like power. So the owner, they don't have the power to say, okay, you need to do this and do this and this, do it this way. Why? Because it's a knowledge work, and only the development team, it's capable or it's knowledgeable to create the software solution. That is so cool because we're autonomy. We make a decision what to do, when, and who will be doing it. So just to provide a summary between the two types of projects here, we have the industrial projects and knowledge projects. Industrial is traditional, and knowledge, it's about agile projects or adaptive. This industrial is predictive. So the industrial projects are visible, stable, running things, standards. We have a lot of correct answers. We know everything. Building a house. Those are task-driven, command and control, performance measurement, and the cost of workers for a task. So the cost, the worker, it's like a cost. However, here in agility, workers are not a cost. They are an asset, and I love it. So knowledge projects are invisible, lots of changes, changing environment, innovation, a lot of questions, value-driven. You see the difference? Autonomy, learning and teachings, and workers are an asset, not a cost. Okay, when to use a Scrum, let's say. I understand a little bit more, but please show me the money and let me know, please provide a summary. Thank you for asking. When to use Scrum? When we have a lot of things that we don't know, when we are working with a complex projects with difficult to define detailed requirements that we don't know what to do. We have just an idea. We have a vision. We have a strategy, right? Vision, idea, strategy. But we know exactly what to do. We are not 100% clear. So when we don't try to apply Scrum if the organization is not ready, that is a mistake. Never use Scrum if the organization is not ready. How do I know that it's ready? Is when you provide training to the organization. So training is needed for all Scrum participants. Very important piece of information here. Okay, big fat lie about Scrum. Developers can do whatever they desire. No, you see that I said, okay, we're autonomy. We know what to do. Nobody's supposed to tell us what to do because we know what to do. That is good. However, I'm not talking about the do whatever. It's not whatever. We need to make sure we are implementing the product backlog items. So it's not whatever. It has to be part of the product backlog. So no paperwork. Another big fat lie. No paperwork and the team can start developing immediately. No paperwork and the team can start developing immediately. No, we need the backlog, right? All requirements must be agreed before the development team can start. No, this is a mistake. We don't need to have the entire backlog ready in order to start developing. Why? This is not an excuse. We can have enough items like the sprint backlog to start the sprint. And I explained that last week, actually. So Scrum, it's very easy to implement. This is a lie, big fat lie. It's not easy to implement. It's easy to understand, but it's very hard to implement. So Scrum is very easy to implement, even without training. That it's big fat lie. And another big fat lie is that Scrum is a set of simple rules. Scrum is a set of rules, but not simple. So Scrum is not simple. It's a set of rules, but it's not simple. Okay, so another big fat lie about Scrum. Scrum Master is like a project manager. No, we are not a project manager. We are Scrum Masters. Scrum Master. Oh, it's here. Scrum Master is not. Scrum doesn't require you to have business case. That it's not true because the product owner is in charge to develop the business case and business justification and have a meeting with investors and the business people, the stakeholders and customers. So we never mentioned that we don't need a business case. Oh, Scrum allows the development team to decide on deliverables. Not 100%. This is a lie because the product owner, it's going to provide the product backlog. Remember the product backlog. So the team can make a decision what items to implement, but not decide on deliverables. All right. So it's not a unilateral decision. It's not. So the product owner is the project manager. No, this is another. This is a big fat lie. Product owner is not the project manager. So basically the project manager disappeared in Scrum. Scrum tells us everything about managing projects. No, because project management, it's a huge set of knowledge. And the Scrum is just a framework to implement a project, but it's not everything about project management, not at all. The product owner, it's a representative from the customer. I will say he's representing the stakeholders, the investors, and the business, not only the customer. Scrum Basics. It's a framework for complex adaptive problems. It's a lightweight framework. What is that lightweight? It's a liviano in Spanish, meaning that it's a set of rules It's not a huge and heavy methodology. So we can say that it's easy to understand. It's high touch, people high touch, and it's a low tech. So Scrum, it's very low tech and high touch. What is that? That you don't need a lot of IT tools to implement Scrum. No, it's people driven. It's a lightweight. It doesn't have a lot of metrics. It's a straightforward and it's a set of rules. It's a framework. So it's not a heavy methodology. It's simple to understand. That's why it's lightweight. It's because it's simple to understand, but it's a little bit difficult to master. Utilizations of Scrum. Research and identify viable markets, technologies, and product capabilities. It's used to develop products and enhancement. It can be used to improve any existing process, an existing product, right? An existing solution. So that's important. You can use it in ongoing operations also. So frequently release products and enhancements, as I mentioned, develop and sustain cloud and operations for product use, sustain and renew products. So it's more it's more useful for product development, product implementation, product improvement solutions. So it's not necessary to be just for implementing new things. It can be to improve existing processes and solutions. Empirical process control theory or empiricism. What is that? It's practice that you are learning incrementally. On every single sprint, you will be able to learn a little bit more about the product and improve the next sprint. So empiricism asserts that knowledge comes from experience and making decisions based on what is known. So that's why we need transparency. Transparency, the pillars. Number 2, inspection. And number 3, adaptation. So this terminology is about those 3 things. Why? Because if you're transparent, you have the experience, you can inspect and have the experience, and then you adapt. So inspect and adapt. Inspect and adapt. That is practical. That is based on the practical knowledge, the experience. So a Scrum employs an iterative incremental approach to optimize predictability and control risk. That is a Scrum. So the 3 pillars of a Scrum are TIA: transparency, inspection, adaptation. Transparency requires a common standard, so observers share a common understanding of what it's being seen. What is transparency? That you have nothing to hide. You have everything in a visual place. You are sharing the information, the work in progress, the project, the vision, the strategies. You have everything in a very highly visible places. It could be a dashboard in digital format, or it could be in your wall, physically in your office. So every single person that is coming to your office can see what you are doing. And I love that because that is transparency. Remember, transparency is not honesty. Honesty is telling the truth. Transparency is telling the truth regardless, even though nobody is asking for. So it's being proactive, sharing the information. So transparency is a common language shared by all participants and a common definition of done. We have a lot of classes coming up to explain what is the definition of. This is transparency, definition of done. Transparency is very important for Scrum. What is inspection? Frequently inspect Scrum artifacts and progress. At the end of each sprint, we need to present a sprint demo, sprint review. It's in that time that we do the inspection. So who's providing the feedback? The customer, the stakeholders, the investor, the business people, it's free to provide feedback and opinions. So inspections should not get in the way of the work. Most beneficial when it's performed by skilled inspectors during the work, or skilled inspectors, or the customers. Inspection without transparency is just a waste of time. It's a joke. How can you inspect something that you don't know, that you don't see? If someone is hiding something, so the inspection is not worthy, right? Adaptation is when you see something that is transparent and you are able to inspect. Now you will be able to identify things to improve and make the adaptation. So inspection and adaptation. Inspection, inspect and adapt. Inspection and adaptation. So adaptation, if the resulting product is unacceptable, the process or the material being processed must be adjusted or improved or adapted. You see, it's the same word. Adaptation, adjustments, improvements. So adjustments are made ASAP, as soon as possible, to minimize additional variances, additional discrepancies, additional deviations, additional problems. So Scrum prescribes four formal events for inspection and adaptation. Number 1 is sprint planning. Number 2, daily Scrum. Number 3, sprint review. And number 4, sprint retrospective. Those are formal events or ceremonies or activities or meetings of Scrum. We finished. Yeah. Key takeaways. The goal of this course is to pass the Scrum exam. The Scrum is a framework under the Agile umbrella. In Agile, the most important are the people, because the projects are implemented by people and not by tools. High touch, low tech. The tools are needed, but not as much as the people. Agile is a people-oriented collaboration and value delivery. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. We did it in less than 30 minutes. This is the class, the week number 2, class 1, Scrum Framework Introduction. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon at the same time and in the same channel. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Goodbye.